Hello my friends, I am G Hondo, and welcome to the first episode of our newest Let's Play. This is Guild of Dungeoneering. Guild of Dungeoneering, for those of you unfamiliar with the game, is a really interesting, it's kind of like a dungeon crawl sort of RPG, except it's actually a card game. So it's right up my alley because it of course means I can spend a million years thinking about any move I make before I make it. There's no, twitch times and running around and trying to outrun the monsters and failing and losing and crying. Um, Although failure is obviously always an option with the card game because it's not just a matter of skill, there's also some luck involved, and frankly, my luck is pretty poor. Anyway, I'm deliberately going to leave this on the screen here so you guys can read it. I have shut the narrator and the music off because my computer is not really strong enough to handle this game. And so by shutting those off, I squeezed back a little bit more CPU. I am leaving the in-game sound effects, like so when we're fighting something, we'll still hear the crashes and all that, because those don't seem to take up too much CPU, but the music is continuous, and the bard, I love the idea, but he drives me nuts, so those are both off, and I'm okay with that. Anyway, so I'm going to leave this on the screen for those for a second. Anyone interested in reading the background story, pause the video, have a read. I'm going to be clicking continue. But just to sum up, what's basically happening is the point of the story is you're a fellow who's had some trouble with a rival guild. So you stole some money from them and built your own dungeoneering guild. And of course, that means we're just barely starting out. The only thing we have available to build right away is the barracks, which you get for free. And if you notice, it says it unlocks a chump class. Chumps are, of course, exactly what they sound like. They are absolutely terrible. They are the weakest of the classes. They have no real special abilities whatsoever, but they at least let you, do something. This first little bit here is, it's a tutorial, so we're really kind of railroaded into what to do. There's normally other options here, but we absolutely have to do the first mission, the Go Explore, because it's a tutorial. So anyway, there is only one choice. Again, it's tutorial, so we must go here. We only have the one Dungeoneer to choose from right now, so of course that's one we have to pick. So let's get going. What I'm going to be doing for this series, unlike most of my other series, is I'm not going to be going based strictly on time for the videos. Like I normally try and do 20, give or take 20 minutes for all my videos. Instead, what I'm going to be doing is simply running however long it takes to complete one full dungeon top to bottom. So obviously the earlier ones are very, very quick and easy. They'll be quick. The later ones are really, really hard. I'll fail a whole bunch of times. They'll be longer videos. But I think that way, though, it's a good way of doing it. And it makes sense to finish at the end of a dungeon rather than midway through. Anyway, what happened there is, like I say, we're railroaded on this first tutorial mission, so it automatically plays some cards for us and walked us into the fight against the mighty rubber ducky. So what's happening here is, so I have 5 hit points, the rubber ducky has 4, and it's doing what's called an anger or an irritable 1 attack. So it's going to hit me for 1, but then it also wounds itself. Basically, it's so mad, it hurts itself in order to hit me. So what will happen is, I'm going to go down to 4 hit points, and it's going to go down to 3, but of course I can also do something back. The monster always goes first, unless you play a quick attack, which I don't have any of. So I'll go down to 4, and then at the same time it will go down to 3, and whatever one I do will happen. So I have it. Basically, I can either hit it for 1 damage, and these are both the same, so it doesn't matter, or I can hit it for 2. I may as well hit it for 2. There's no reason not to. So what will happen here? I'll go down to 4. It takes the 1 damage, and then the 2 damage I just punched it for, so it's down to 1. So it's now doing an even stronger attack, but again, it's an angry one, so it's going to actually kill itself. All I have to do is survive its hit, and it will kill itself. Now, of course, I can also punch it anyway, but it won't matter because it'll be dead. So I'm just going to do a cower, which basically will block 1 of these damages. So I'll still take 1, and I'll go down to 3. It will kill itself, because my attack doesn't, like I'm not doing an attack, I'm just defending. But its anger will kill itself, and I'll win. As long as you have at least 1 hit point left, when the monster has none, you win. And obviously, if the monster has hit points left and you don't, you lose. And if it's a tie, like you both go down to 0 at the same time, well, it's a tie, but your character has died, so it's basically the same as losing. So anyway, I'm just going to do a quick cower here. Block one of it, I'll take one, but survive, and the rubber ducky will kill itself. Right, after every battle, you are given some choices of what to pick up in terms of loot. Loot's basically items. This may be kind of hard to see because it's grayed out right now, but you have 4 item slots. You have a head, body, weapon, and an offhand. But we'll look at this better when it's not grayed out. So at any time, it's going to pop up some choices for loot. You can hover over them and get an idea of what they are. For example, this wooden stool here will give me a crush attack, an armor, blocking, and a stupidity. Stupidity is all bad. It quite literally is your character does nothing that turn. It's a total waste. And these do stack. If I later get another item, say I do take the wooden stool, I probably won't, but for an example, say I take the wooden stool. If I get another item that also has crush 1, instead of just getting a second bash, I'll actually get, instead, I'll keep the bash from the original item, but the second crush 1 will give me the crush 2 card. Off the top of my head, I don't remember what that is, but these are additives, so with only one piece of equipment, that's not really going to help, but as you get more of them, they start to stack up. But I don't like the wooden stool because I really don't like stupidity. The last thing you need to be doing ever is drawing a card that does you absolutely no good at all. Let's take a look at the ruffled shirt. Okay, so it just has one ability, but it's a good one. Swift is a good one. The symbols there, so you'll recognize, if I try to hover over it, the mouse moves, the screen goes, but that reddish one you'll recognize, that's the physical attack. That's what the rubber ducky and I were doing to each other most of that battle. The one beside it, that little lightning bolt, that signifies it's a quick attack. And if you remember, I mentioned that normally the monster goes first unless you're doing a quick attack. So if I played this card in battle, then instead of the monster hitting me first, I would hit it first. And I would also have that black one, which underneath it that's the symbol for something else. In this case, it's draw a card. And if you look at the very, very, very top, it actually sums up quite nicely what's happening. So there's one physical damage, which is quick, and draw a card. So I would hit the monster, draw a card, and then the monster would hit me. So this is a very good one. I'll probably be taking this one. The other option we have here is the newspaper hat. And this is kind of a weird one because it gives you a great ability. You'll see up here where it says wise. That lets you have one extra card in your hand in the battle. Normally when you start a battle, you have 3 cards in your hand to start with. And well, obviously, if you draw a ruffled shirt, for example, you go up to 4. But this just has your base become 4 instead of 3, which is absolutely awesome. But it also gives you stupidity. So I don't entirely understand how that one works. I'm just going to take the ruffled shirt. You always have the option as well of just saying, don't worry about it, just give me money. But for now, I definitely will want the ruffled shirt. And now that this is not grayed out anymore, we can see it better. So like I said, you have a body, head, weapon, and an offhand. You can only have one item in each slot, so if I ever find a new item in the body slot that's better than the ruffled shirt, it would be swapped. So if I take, say, a piece of armor, like a tattered mail or something, then the ruffled shirt goes away, taking its swift one with it, and then I get the replacement unit. So you kind of want to, if you can, to try and get all 4 to have at least something in them, because then they're helping you. But anyway, as you can see, the chump has no traits, no skills. Like, the chump really does suck, but we're kind of stuck with her because that's the only one you get to start. Anyway, the point of this dungeon, as it's telling you, is it wanted me to defeat a total of 3 monsters. So we've already beaten a rubber ducky, so we have to defeat any other 2. There are already some monsters on the map, and I have some in my hand. See, the neat thing about this game is you build the dungeon as you go. So you can see right now the chump is she's just going to walk back and forth up this hallway, which is useless. But if I drag this corridor here, and it'll highlight spots where it could fit, because obviously it can't go here, there's no connection. But I could say, for example, put it right here. So that will change her path, because now she sees something more interesting than this open, useless hallway. So she'll wander to here, and she'll stop, because this is unexplored. It's got the little cloud on it. And then next turn, she'll come up here and fight this nasty rat. The other thing I can do, though, is I can add monsters myself. So I could actually draw up a giant bat here. So now when she walks to here, instead of just stopping and waiting, she'll actually have another battle. So let's do that. So now we'll fight the giant bat. You'll see it has a trait here that's grayed out. That means it's not currently applicable. This particular one is just says if the monster is placed down in a corridor that's a dead end, it would have 1 less hit point. Doesn't really apply to us. Okay, so it's going to do a drain attack, so that's our first sign of magic damage. And this one's particularly nasty because not only does it deal 1 damage to us, but if that damage goes through, the bat also heals 1. There is no maximum hit points, so even though this thing's already at 4 of the 4 it starts with, it will gain this and it will go up to 5. So needless to say, I don't want this to happen, so I'm going to use my cower, which is block 1 of either physical or magic damage, magic in this case, and not let it gain that hit point, because I really don't want it to gain hit points. That would be bad. Okay, now what it's trying to do is it's going to try and just hit me with magic damage again, and it's also doing something that blocks physical. So what will happen here is, if I say, for example, to use my eyes closed punch, nothing will happen. I will take this 1 damage because I'm just letting it through, but my physical attack will be blocked. That's bad. So I'm just going to, again, just block it. So we're both now at this point just blocking damage. Ah, excellent, our first unblockable. So this symbol here, unblockable. That means is, if I had another cower, it wouldn't help me. I could play it, but this damage would still go through anyway, because this cannot be blocked. So at this point, I don't really have much choice anyway. All I have left right now are single attacks anyway, but if I did have a cower still in my hand, it would be useless, because this will go right through it. But anyway, I don't, so it doesn't matter. We're just going to go ahead and trade 1 damage. Ouch, and ouch. Okay, so again, it's going to do that drain thing, which is really annoying, and I can't stop it this time. I do not have anything to block. What I do have, though, is finally something other than just a basic attack. The fact that this is quick doesn't really matter because it's not going to kill it anyway, but what it does do is it lets me draw an extra card, so now I'm going to have 4 up here at a time. So again, we're just going to trade some damage, but then it's going to heal 1, which sucks. But I do now have an extra card to choose from. Awesome. Okay, it's doing an unblockable attack, so there's no point in doing this. So I might as well just smack it as hard as I can, which in this case is for 2. And now it's on the edge here. This is good. That's really not good. So I cannot kill it this turn. It's going to fire a magic damage at me, but it's blocking physical, and those are the only attacks I have. So instead, I'm just going to block that magic damage and wait till next turn and see if maybe I get a better draw. Okay, it's doing an unblockable attack. So I can't do anything about that. I can't cower from it. I will take 1, but I can take that 1. It only has 1 hit point. It's not blocking, so I will kill it. So it's going to knock me down to 1, and then I'm going to kill it. And there we go. Hooray. Cool. Alright, so again we have, and these are random, there's a bunch of different items you can get. You'll see, it might be easier again if I put this up. So right now you remember I have the ruffled shirt, that's a body slot. This one's also a body slot, so you see it says, yes, you'll gain the +1 hit point, but you lose the effect of the ruffled shirt, because it's replacing it. So I'm not going to do that. Instead I'm going to take either the head or the weapon slot. So the weapon, the twig here, would give me crush 1, which is that bash, and the head, that paper crown, could give me holy 1. Given the chump already has a lot of physical attacks already anyway, I think I'd like to have something with some healing. So this holy seal, it's a lot like my cower, where it can block 1 of either physical or magic damage, but the difference is if it does block something, it also heals me for 1, so that's pretty cool. We're taking that. Plus it's styling. As you can see, it actually updates your icon here with what you're wearing. It's hard to see for the shirt, but the crown, you can definitely see it. Okay, so I could just press end turn, we could go fight this rat and be done. The other thing I could do though, for example, is I could put down these hope cards, and these will actually lure, right? Because the character would obviously much prefer to go pick up money than fight something. So, instead of fighting this right away, because I have no time pressure, there's no turn counter or anything, it's just, defeat the monsters. So, I'm just going to pop over here and get some more money for our guild. There's no reason not to. It's absolutely harmless. Free money for the guild. Because what happens is when the dungeon is done, either because you completed it or because your dungeoneer died, any money made on that trip goes to your guild, and that's what you'll use to pay for upgrades and such. So, but we'll come to that in a little bit. So at this point, I could place down a monster here and fight it, or I could just let her walk up here and fight this one. Absolutely no difference, so I'll just let her walk over there and fight the rat. Very cool. Right, so this is actually a great opportunity to show this off. So as you can see, that only does 1 damage. This will block it, but I will heal for 1. You watch here, I just gained a hit point, and its attack did nothing. This one's unblockable, so there's no sense in using cower, so I'm just going to thump it as hard as I can. Excellent. Again, it's an unblockable attack, there's no point in cowering, so I'll just thump it 1. See, I don't mind trading damage with a monster when I have more hit points than they do. Now this is a bad one. So it's got a black thing, which is a special. In this case, it's a discard, so if this neurotoxin attack hits and I take that 1 damage, I also randomly lose one of these, meaning I'll only have 2 cards up here at a time. That really, really, really sucks. I could do this. I'll still discard 1, but then I'll grow 1 back, so I'd still be at 3. Or better is I can just not have that neurotoxin happen by blocking it. So that worked out pretty well. Let's just go ahead. That's an unblockable attack, so I'll just go ahead and punch back. There we go. And now the rat's down to 1. It is not doing any kind of blocking, because that just means it's an unblockable attack. But if I do a quick attack, I won't even take that damage, because I go first. And I win. And there you go. Very cool. Okay, so this is just your summary screen of what happens. So basically, this is how much gold Morgana's bringing back to the guild. The actual amounts here are always very, very limited. The quest bonus ones are usually okay, but you don't bring back a lot of gold at a time, generally speaking. But that's fine. Also, there's now a thing called Battle Scars. This is a relatively recent addition to the game. I think it actually is part of the Pirates DLC, I think. Or it might have been an update. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, after every time you complete a dungeon, your character will get a Battle Scar. And these are random. It has nothing to do with how well or poorly you did. They're completely random. And they'll usually have something good and something bad. Some of them are just all good and some of them are just all bad. But mostly there's something good and something bad. This particular one says, okay, from now on you'll start with the Crush 1. So it's basically like having a free piece of equipment that gives you the Crush 1 ability, like say that twig. You can basically say, I have a twig even though it's not actually equipped. I have that card. But minus 1 hit points. So instead of having 5 hit points to start with, Chump will only ever have 4 to start with. And that really sucks. But anyway, now we'll return. Awesome. And now we can actually properly start playing the game. So this is obviously the start location. This is the hall itself I built. That's the barracks I built, and that's our chump. We can at any time go to Dungeoneers and see our people, and we can click on them to learn about them. So for an example, this one here has no traits other than the Battle Scar we just got. These are the basic cards that the chump class has. Every class will have their own base cards, and then they gain cards from whatever equipment they pick up. So you can see the chump is purely physical attacks and some blocks. Doesn't have any healing, doesn't have any quick attacks, nothing unblockable. It's a very weak class. But it is for free, so you can't complain. Right, let's spend some of this money. So if we go to Expand Guild, this is all the rooms and abilities we could possibly ever buy. In order to access the lower tier stuff, obviously it's a lot of money, but you also have to have had a couple from the previous tier. So I can't even buy, even if I could afford it, I couldn't buy any of these because I'd have to have stuff from the lower tier. But anyway, I'll just buzz across these real quick so we can see them. This first one is an option which would unlock a new class for us, the cat burglar. I really like the cat burglar because of this ability here. Cat burglars always start with the covetous trait, which means every single time that they how do I describe? Basically, every time you're going to be getting loot, they get more. So it's just a direct bonus. The other thing about them is they don't have any defense, but they do have unblockables, they do have quick attacks, and they also have some delayed attacks. Catnip, even though it has the symbol for physical attack, this card does not deal any damage right now. What it does is it stores this physical damage So for example, if I play catnip, I've got one stored. If on the next turn I do a throw cat, instead of doing 2 damage, it'll do 3 because I've got one stored up. So it's a strange way to do it, but it actually can help in some cases. But the cat burglar is very nice. I probably will buy this, but we'll come back to it. Our next option, this is a blessing or a talisman. You can always start any dungeon with any one of these kind of abilities, these orangey gold kind of ones. This particular one, if I bought it, would say I could start the first 2 fights. If I win them, instead of there being 3 pieces of equipment to choose from, there'll be 4. I still can only pick one, but at least I would have, you know, that extra 33% chance of finding a really good one. So that's pretty nice. This guy here would unlock the Bruiser. The Bruiser is a pretty good character for 2 reasons. The main one I like is Spiky, which says if you completely block your opponent, obviously then they don't hurt you, but you get a free point of unblockable damage. Spiky damage is neither physical nor magical, it's just an ability damage. So no matter what they're doing, if you block them completely, they take 1 damage, which is awesome. The other reason I like them is they actually have, you know, decent defense while still having some, you know, unblockable. They don't have any, like he doesn't have any really powerful hits, which seems kind of strange you'd think for a bruiser. But being able to have these 3 cards that have some kind of blocking gives you a pretty good chance of getting a spiky damage in quite often. And obviously, like if you pick up armors for your loots, you get even more blocking ability. Spiky gets really, really good, really, really fast. Let's see, we also have the Talisman of the Warrior. Again, this is like that other one here, that's a single thing. This guy would say the very first 2 battles, your very first physical attack just deals an extra point of damage. I don't like this one. It's not bad, but I don't like it, so I'm never going to buy that one. Next, we have this one, which unlocks the Mime class. The Mime class doesn't have any traits, but is a pretty interesting class. Actually has both magical and physical damage, which is really nice. Has a staggering or a delayed boost up. Think about the catnip. This one, although it stores up magic instead of physical, but at least this one also does a block. The catnip just stores up, doesn't do anything else. This at least says, okay, well, I could also block a physical damage, plus storing up a magic attack to make a stronger imaginary cannon. But also has really neat stuff like cloning the enemy's next card, makes the enemy discard one, like just has neat abilities. So I kind of like the Mime. Next one here is the Heal, or Hug in a Bottle. This one's a very common one. A lot of people will take this. It basically just says in your first 2 fights, have an extra hit point. And because obviously the first few fights are always the toughest because you don't have any equipment yet, that's a very helpful ability. Next, we can unlock the Apprentice. The Apprentice is also pretty good. He starts with Talented, which basically says, pretend I have a piece of equipment that gives me Fire 1. So he has which I think is sort of like a zap, but anyway, it's a magical attack. I consider the Apprentice a little bit limited simply because all of the attacks are magic based. So if you fight something with a lot of magic defense and no physical, you could be in trouble. But does have a very, very, very good card of Intuition, which just lets you draw 2 cards, which means all of a sudden your hand goes from 3 to 5. And that gets pretty important. So I do like the Apprentice, but I do find it a bit limited. Excuse me. Next we have Crone's Knowledge. Crone's Knowledge is nice. So it says for the first 2 fights, instead of having 3 cards in your starting hand, you get 4. Nothing wrong with that. That's pretty good. Over here, now we're getting into the equipment side. So what these are, you don't immediately get all these. All 4 of them are, you know, just more things. But what it does though is, when you do beat a monster and you get loot, these will now become choices that are available in addition to the default ones that everyone can get. So if you don't, for example, have a leather worker, you can never find mage robes, ever. But if you have a leather worker, the mage robes are in the pool. You could get them, if you understand what I mean by that. So basically, the more of these things you have, the more choices there are for what loot show up. And all of these are subjectively, well, not even are definitely better than the default ones, because they're all commons. These are all uncommon. Later on, you'll get these ones, which are rares, and then much later on, you'll get these, which are all epics. And just to show as an example, take the mace as an example. Okay, it's an uncommon. It's a level 3. It gives you 3 abilities. Okay, Blade 1 and Crush 2. Right, if I jump down to here, is there a weapon? I need a weapon. I'm sorry, just a second. I'm going to try and find you a weapon here. There we go. Well, it's only level 2. But it also has 3 abilities. They all happen to be Blade, but that's only a level 2 item. So you can get that with beating a level 2 monster instead of a level 3 monster, and that just shows you the difference between the the epic level and here's an epic 3. Yeah, so 3 blades and 2 crushes. You see, like they get so much better. So definitely unlocking stuff here is definitely good. I think, though, I'm probably going to spend, because we only have enough to get 1. Everything on tier 1 is 50 gold, and we only have 62. So I think I'm actually going to get the cat burglar, just because A, I really like the covetous ability, but also B, I like having at least one other dungeoneer to choose from right away. I may or may not ever unlock some of these. I probably won't unlock everything. In fact, I can almost guarantee it. I definitely will unlock, the 2 I need to get down to here, 2 of them here to get here, and 2 of them here to get here. But I almost certainly will not unlock all of them. But I do really like the cat burglar, so I am going to pay the 50 gold. That gives us a hidden den. We just have to place this somewhere. It makes no difference where you put it. And there we go. We now have a cat burglar, which is awesome. And let's go exploring. I said I would finish 1 dungeon completely every episode, so let's finish off this one here by defeating the Rat King. So now that we have 2 adventures to choose from, we actually can't choose them. I didn't buy like the idol or the talisman or anything, so I have no blessing, but I do at least have a cat burglar to use, so let's go play with the Rat King. Alright. Yes, squeak squeak, thank you. Okay, so again, this is one where there's no time limit or anything, it's just at some point make your way up here and defeat this guy. So we can do that. Alright, so right now we are completely isolated from all of this, so we need to build a path up to there. And that's going to be pretty difficult since we didn't get particularly good cards in terms of movement. But let's see what we can do. We start there. We can maybe go up here. And this was, you notice it said it was a mysterious fountain. Oh, that's a terrible one. Whenever you place down a fountain, it'll spin, and it'll either show you a red one, which is something bad. In this case, I would gain stupidity 2 next fight, or gold, in which case it's a good one. And there's plenty of different ones. But generally speaking, any of them that are red are bad, and any of them that are gold are good. Anyway, before we do that, we do need to fight some things to gain some levels and gain some equipment, so I'm just going to place down a rat here, and we're going to go and attack it. Alright, let's go. That's a terrible start for me. That's a good start for the rat. It's terrible for me. I don't have any way to block that, so I'm just going to have to slap this rat around as best I can. And you see now I only have 2 to choose from because I had to discard, which is not good. I'm just going to take that one, and I'm going to use the catnip to store 1 damage and hope I get something good. Really didn't, but that's fine. So now you'll see this will do 2 damage instead of 1 because I have that catnip waiting. The difference now is it's down to 1 hit point, and I have a quick attack, which means I win. There we go. Alright, and you'll see because I have covetous, I get 4 to choose from instead of just 3. Now these, I haven't unlocked any of the better equipment, so these all will still be pretty terrible, but at least I have more choice. So the wooden stool we've already seen. It gives you 2 nice abilities, but also stupidity. The hat gives you a great ability and stupidity. The barrel gives you a hit point and stupidity. Noticing a theme yet? And the paper crown just gives you 1 ability, so that's my easy choice. I hate stupidity. I'm going to get saddled with it right here temporarily, but anyway. That can't be helped. Well, at least now I can build a corridor. No, I can't. That won't fit here because there's no room here. I guess I'll just build this way. I'm going to have to try and get up and around. It's not giving me very nice corridor choices. It is completely random, so there's not much to do about that. And let's fight... Well, let's try and fight a rat man. The fountain ability will not happen yet because the fights always happen first. So after I fight this monster, then I'll get the fountain, which means my next fight I'll have the stupidity. That's not very nice, but at least this time I have something to block it with, and I'll gain a hit point. Awesome. That's unblockable, so let's just catnip. I'll take the 1 damage, that's fine. That's not very nice. So I'll go ahead and I'll slap him for 3, he'll slap me for 2, but it'll also hurt itself, so I'm definitely winning the hit point race here, and that will finish it. So I'll take that 1, but I can take it. I'll throw 2, it can't take it. Victory to me. Okay, so sparkly headband. Now you'll notice this has 2 things here, but it's only showing me 1 option. That's because it would be replacing the paper crown I already have. The paper crown already has Holy 1, so I'm not losing anything. I'm just gaining Fire 1, so that's a decent one. Stiletto gives me Blade and Swift, which are both very good. Good armor and a hit point, but stupidity, which I really don't like. And an offhand that just gives me Crush 2. That's also very tempting. So do I want Crush 2 or Blade 1 and Swift 1? They're both really, really good. But I think I'm going to take the Stiletto. I'm a big fan of Swift. Alright. See how we do here. Still don't have any rooms that properly connect, so I think I'll just fight a gnoll and then reward myself with a massive gem if I can do it. Now remember though, I have Stupidity 2 in this fight, which means I have gained 2 cards that are both just which really sucks. The other thing about this guy is he has what's called Fury. So when I bring him down to half hit points, every single attack he does gains an extra point of attack, which is going to be a problem later. But anyway, for now, let's block one of them. Okay. I'll just catnip. Alright. I don't really need the speed, but I really do want to draw an extra card, so I'm going to use the shift. And Fury mode will now activate because he's at very low health. So now this attack normally will only do 1. You'll see it's actually going to be dealing 2. It's hard to see, but there's 2 of them there. Having said that, I can take those 2, and it cannot take any damage from me, so I'm just going to finish it. Yes, I have to discard a card, but it doesn't matter because I've just won. Alright, so again, the sparkly headband, which is nice. Shifting cloak is pretty nice too. Firing arcane. The offhand. This is actually a good example here. So as adding Blade and Swift, you'll notice I'm gaining Blade 2 and Swift 2 because I already have Blade 1 and Swift 1 from the Stiletto. So you can see it just, instead of giving me a second one of those, it just gives me the next version up as well. And then the club is Growth and Crush, but I would have to lose that. So now I'm just going to take the hook. Gain dice and interrupt. Which is nice. And now I'm looking pretty rockin' with a knife in one hand, a hook for another hand, and a paper crown on top. Awesome. Alright, this does not help me at all, so I'm going to ignore it. Give myself a rat man to fight, and let's go. Okay, that's unblockable. I'll just store one. In future videos, I'm not going to spend as much time going over every single thing that's happening, because I'm assuming you'll remember stuff from one episode to the next. If I make what looks like a questionable decision, then I'll explain what I'm doing, but generally speaking, I'm not going to go to this level of detail in future videos, because it shouldn't be necessary by then. Anyway, for now, let's block his and gain a hit point. My stored one sits there. It'll wait as long as it needs to. That's unfortunate. That's a very unfortunate thing. Okay, so that block will basically cancel this out, and then I stand to take 2 damage, which really sucks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to at least draw a card to make myself feel a little bit better. I still get 1 damage through, but yeah. But drawing an extra card will make me feel better, really. Yeah, apparently I'm throwing away said card I just picked up. This guy is quite the jerk. Alright, well let's just fling a cat at him, I guess. Awesome. Oh, they really? Okay. Well, I can take that 2. He's at 3, but he's going to go down to 2, so if I fling a slice at him here, this will kill him, because I can take that, and he cannot take that. Sweet. Cool, okay. So it's offering the Shimmering Cloak again, which I'm probably going to take. I don't want to lose that. I already have a hook, so I could just directly sell it for 2 gold. Or I could add... No, I'm not doing that. No, I'm just going to take the Shimmering Cloak. Gain some magic attack. That can't be a bad thing. Okay. Yeah, it looks like I can finally get at this guy. I could use the Mysterious Fountain right here, or I could put that there and that thing. Come on. That one there. It's no difference. In fact, I could just do all 3. You can only place 3 cards per turn. That's why you see it automatically ended the turn for me. Oh, it actually made a good one this time. Alright, so I now have a bonus in this next fight here. Oh, this is good. This is good. And plunk that there. Now we have access to all this area. And let's go fight this nasty rat. You'll notice the character always says something before they move, and the cat burglar makes some terrible cat puns. That's why I'm not really talking about them, because I find them absolutely awful. Anyway, I'm just going to blast this and pick up a card. So we traded a point of damage, but I got an extra card out of it, which is awesome. Ah, here's a good one. Okay, so he's doing a bite, which is unblockable, but the dice attack, not only does it deal 2 damage, but it goes up to 3 if your opponent's doing an unblockable attack, which he is. So instead of doing the 2 damage, I'm actually going to do a 3 to him, which is awesome. So I'll take the 1, I'll take 3, and I've got this rat on the ropes. It's not blocking, so I'll just do a quick attack and immediately win. Easy, easy. Cool. Okay. So I could replace our paper crown with a pigeon nest. That doesn't seem like a good deal to me. We could replace our hook with a cup of hot coffee, which is a fire. Which is just burning hot coffee on the guy. We could take off our shimmering cloak for this terrible barrel, or give up our hook for the shield. I'm going to say no to all of them and just take a yellow card. Which means I can now put down some coins for myself, which is cool. Why is that not? Oh, okay. It was hard to see, but this one does not have a opening upwards, so I can't put it there. And this room does not have an opening to the side, so I can't put this here. So I can't use this one anywhere meaningful right now. So instead, I'll just give myself some money, and we'll move on. Cool. Alright. This one I cannot use. I want something here is what I'm looking for. This should do. That should go. Yep, perfect. So now at least I have access to this guy. The cat burglar has decided that this is the most interesting square. If I had coins or something, I could maybe influence that, but I don't, so that's fine. Yes, forward to victory. Thank you for that. The puns are terrible. But anyway. Alright, so you're going to hit me and yourself. I'm just going to use some catnip to be ready for a bigger attack later. A simple strike here. Take 3, because I've catnipped. Excellent. You're going to deal 1 damage to yourself when you do that headbutt. So I'm going to preload you. You're now down to 1. This attack I can take, and you cannot. Victory. Alright. Cooking pot is decent, but I would rather keep the Holy Seal. The male coif has 2 stupidities, so even though it has 2 hit points, which is awesome, I'm not taking 2 stupidities. I already have a stiletto, and I'm not taking a stupidity, so I'm just going to take a yellow card. Oh, it happened to give me 1 anyway. That's even better. Alright, so we'll give myself a nice massive gem here, and a gold pouch there, and we'll let him walk. Nope. massive gem for the guild, and let's go fight the Rat King. Excellent. Okay. Let's just blast him. You'll see he has the leader trait, but it's grayed out because he doesn't have any minions on the map immediately around him. I already killed the one that was closest to him. So anyway, he's doing an unblockable, so that sounds like a great opportunity for a dice. Slap him around quite a bit. He is going to hurt himself for 1, and I can take this hit. So all I have to do is just hit him for 1, and his own headbutt will kill himself. And I have won. So there we go. So I've defeated this dungeon completely. So a few things will happen. Obviously we'll get gold for it. And as usual, I'll get a battle scar. Oh, this is actually one that's just plain good. I just start with Blade 1. So basically, it's like having an item that doesn't take up a slot. I just gain the Blade 1 card. But we've also unlocked some new stuff. So we'll be able to build a trophy room at our dungeon. Or sorry, at our guild. And we've unlocked the Fire Lord, Victimless Crime, and Goblins dungeons. So that'll give us something to do for next episode. I'll pick one of these. I don't know which one yet. Doesn't really matter. But we'll pick one, and that's what we'll do next episode. So at this point, I'll just hit return. I'll place the trophy room so you guys can see it. And then we'll call it an episode. So again, these things can go absolutely anywhere. I'll just put it up here. And there we go. So in the trophy room, obviously I only have 1 trophy so far. But every time you completely 100% finish a dungeon, you'll get something as a memento. So I beat the Rat King, so I took his tail. So that's pretty neat. Alright folks, so I hope you have enjoyed this very tutorial-like first episode. Like I say, future episodes I'm not going to go into that much detail, because it's probably not necessary, but anyway, I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope you'll enjoy the series. I'll be, like as I said, I'll be doing 1 full dungeon per episode, however long or short that may be, and that should do it. So until next time folks, stay calm, and I hope you come and chill with me again in the next video. Thanks for watching!